You will require to show more funds to apply for your spouse upon work permit if you are going to lodge your file after September 1, 2025. So if you are in the process of managing your funds right now and you are just barely managing your funds, then in that case you should lodge your file before September 1, 2025. Otherwise, you can lose your eligibility to apply for your spouse upon work permit just based on the funds. So in this particular video, I am breaking this bad news for you. Apart from that, I am going to share the details of how much more funds will be required to you and what is going to be your eligibility for spouse upon work permit. So to know all these details, watch this video till then. Hello everyone, welcome back to this YouTube channel Globex Immigration. This is Jitendra Grover. In this video, I am discussing about new updates related to financial requirement of spouse upon work permit in Canada. Along with spouse, GIC requirement for students are also increased. So earlier, right now, we are paying the GIC, which is approximately $21,000. In future, starting from September 1, 2025, it is going to be increased to $23,000 approximately. So there will be an increase of $2,000 after September 1, 2025. So if you are planning to apply for study visa or study visa with spouse or study visa with family, in that case, you should be ready with more funds if you are going to lodge your file after September 1, 2025. So right now, we are managing $21,000 GIC. In future, you will require 23,000 Canadian dollars. But you can make a GIC payment in ICICI Bank, and as soon as you reach Canada, you can withdraw the entire amount. You don't require to keep it for 1 year. So you can pay the GIC in ICICI Bank and you can withdraw everything. Similarly, if you are going to apply for spouse visa, either with student, either with study visa or after getting study visa, in that case, you will require to keep your previous GIC which you are paying or the living expenses. Along with that, you are right now showing $5,000 more. So add $5,000 and you are showing $26,000 right now if you are applying for the spouse visa, especially if the spouse is outside Canada. So in that case, right now the requirement is of $26,000. But in future, after September 1, 2025, the requirement is going to be 29,000 Canadian dollars. So it will be increased by $3,000. GIC is increased by $2,000. If you are applying along with one kid, so if you have one kid, right now we are showing 32,000 Canadian dollars. In future, it is going to become 36,000 Canadian dollars. If you are applying with two kids, previous requirement is 39,000 Canadian dollars. But in future, it is going to become 43,000 Canadian dollars. So there is an increase of $2,000 to $3,000 depending upon how many family members you are going to apply. For a student, $2,000, but with a spouse, with a family, it is going to be $3,000 to $4,000 are going to be increased overall. So you will require to show more funds in future if you are going to lodge your file after September 1, 2025. If you don't have old funds for spouse visa, in that case, you can submit more funds in GIC and you can send the entire amount to Canada along with the GIC. So rather than making a GIC of $21,000, you can make it $26,000 or $32,000 right now. And in future, rather than making $23,000 GIC, you can make a GIC of $29,000 or $36,000 depending upon the size of your family. So to get your spouse visa, you can deposit the entire amount in GIC. You can send it to Canada. You can apply for study visa with spouse or PG work permit with spouse. So you can apply along with the primary applicant. You can lodge the file for spouse upon work permit and you can show the entire amount inside Canada as well. It is going to be accepted and it will always improve your visa chances as well. And as soon as you land in Canada, spouse reaches Canada, you can withdraw the entire amount and you can do whatever you want to do with that particular amount. So if you are doing your GIC with ICICI Bank, then your entire amount is going to be free as soon as you are going to reach Canada. You don't require to keep this amount on hold for 1 year if you are doing your GIC with ICICI Bank. Next, this is your current GIC and other financial requirement for study visa and spouse. Right now we are doing $21,000 GIC. This is the current amount. $26,000 we are showing overall including GIC. For your spouse upon work permit, if you have one kid, $32,000, two kids, $39,000. So this is the current financial requirement. So if you are barely managing your funds, in that case, lodge your file before September 1, 2025, because if you are going to do it after that, in that case you will require to show more funds as per the new financial requirement. Next is, what is the eligibility requirement for spouse open work permit if you are applying along with study visa? In that case, primary applicant needs to go for a 2-year of master's degree. 2 years means 16 months of master degree is required in Canada. Primary applicant means if husband is going on study visa, then husband needs to take 2 years of master degree. If wife is going on study visa, in that case wife needs to take 2 years of master degree. Second is, you need to show appropriate funds. If you are applying before September 1st, then $26,000 are required, including GIC for student and spouse. If you have kids, then 32. If you have 2 kids, then $39,000. After September 1st, you will require to show $29,000 approximately for getting your spouse open work permit. Then you need to prove your genuine marriage as well, especially if your marriage is recent. In that case, you will require to provide so many government and photograph and other proofs as well to prove that your marriage is genuine. So these are the requirements if you are going to apply for spouse visa along with study visa. Next is eligibility with work permit. If primary applicant is on work permit or applying for a work permit, there can be 2 types of work permits. Usually it is PG work permit or LMIA based closed work permit. No matter what kind of work permit is there, it requires to be of a length of 16 months. So 16 months of work permit is required, or eligibility to get 16 months of work permit. For example, you are right now applying for PG work permit, but you are applying for it. You don't have it right now. So still, along with that, you can apply for a spouse open work permit. You are eligible to do so. So rather than waiting to get a work permit to get spouse open work permit or spouse open work permit extension, along with PG work permit application, you can apply for spouse open work permit from inside Canada or from outside Canada. Similarly, if you are taking LMIA based closed work permit, and you can take it for 2 years. It is an LMIA for 2 years. In that case as well, along with LMIA based closed work permit, you can apply for spouse open work permit. Usually people try to avoid it, but it is legal. You should do it. You should apply for spouse open work permit along with the primary applicant. So whether you are applying for LMIA based closed work permit or PG work permit, whatever application you are doing, if you are eligible to get 16 months of work permit, then in that case you should apply, you should try for spouse open work permit as well along with the primary applicant. You should try to do it. Second requirement is, primary applicant needs to be on a tier 0 or 1 level of job or tier 2 or 3 level of job. On tier 0 or 1 level, any job profile is fine. Even if you are assistant manager in retail or restaurant, whatever, it doesn't matter. If the job is on tier 0 or 1 level, any job profile is fine. But there is a specific list of no codes if you are working on tier 2 or 3 level. It will make you eligible to get spouse open work permit. This requirement is for primary applicant. Suppose you are applying for PG work permit right now, then this is the requirement for PG work permit applicant. If you are applying for LMIA based closed work permit, then it is a requirement for the primary applicant to get a job. There is no requirement to have a job for the secondary applicant. So don't worry about it. Now there are 2 things, and here there is a complete list of no codes. I'll share the link in description. You can check what are the no codes which are eligible to get spouse open work permit on tier 2 or 3 level. So I'll share the complete list because there are so many no codes in that. But there are 2 things here. One thing is, if you are applying from inside Canada, if you are applying for your PG work permit right now, LMIA based closed work permit right now, the timeline is 7-8 months. In that case, even if you do not have a job, still you can apply without having a job. Now there is one more important part, whether you should apply if you don't have a job. If your PGWP or LMIA based work permit, if it is already approved, then in that case, if you don't have an appropriate job, don't apply for spouse open work permit. But if you are applying for PGWP or LMIA based closed work permit, along with that application, you can apply for SOWP even if you don't have a job. Why? Here the timeline for spouse open work permit is going to be approximately 2 months. In many cases, it is less than 2 months as well. You will not get a time to get a job because after getting the approval of PG work permit or LMIA based closed work permit, you will not get a chance to update your job for the application of spouse open work permit. But here, because processing time is 7-8 months, you will get 6 months of time to update your job with the application of spouse open work permit. So here you have a lot of time where you can get a job and submit your job proofs later on through web form to IRCC. So it is going to be accepted. Here you have a lot of time and you can submit multiple web forms as well. You will have time here to submit your job proofs. But if it is already approved, your PGWP is already approved, LMI is already approved. So in that case, once you get a job, then only apply for spouse open work permit, because in this scenario, spouse open work permit will be processed within 2 months. Here, spouse open work permit will be processed along with your application and it is going to take 7 to 8 months of time. So here, you will have time, you will get time to submit web form and submit your job proofs. So here, when you are applying for PG work permit, along with that, you can submit spouse open work permit or SOWP extension application, even if you don't have a job. But here, if it is already approved, in that case, unless you get a job, you should not submit your spouse open work permit application. When you should apply for your spouse open work permit? So if you are applying with study, apply along with the study visa. That's the best case scenario. Usually people avoid to apply for it and many consultants say no for it, but I always try to get study visa with spouse, study visa with family. So along with study visa application, that's the best case scenario. If spouse gets spouse open work permit along with study visa, then spouse can travel to Canada along with student. That's the best case scenario. So I always try to get it. I always aspire for it. I always want to get study visa with spouse. So that's the best case scenario. Even though it increases the complexity a little bit, I understand that. But because of my SOP documentation, I understand everything and I know that getting it is possible. That's why I always recommend to proceed study visa with spouse. Second is, after getting study visa but before travel, this can also be done. Many people try to avoid it, but if you have 2 to 3 months of time before your travel, then you can try for spouse visa after getting the study visa but before reaching Canada. Third scenario is after getting study visa and after your enrollment in Canada. If you get your study visa just before the enrollment in Canada, in that case, you can travel to Canada, get yourself enrolled in Canada, and after your enrollment, you can lodge the file for spouse open work permit. So in study, the best case is apply along with study visa. Second is before traveling to Canada. Third is after traveling, after reaching to Canada. If you are applying along with PG work permit application, then it always gives you additional chance of getting your spouse visa. So along with PGWP application, spouse open work permit application can also be processed. It's not a problem. It's legal and you should do it. So along with PG work permit application, second is after getting your PG work permit application. If applying for closed work permit, then along with closed work permit application or after getting closed work permit application. So these are the times when you can apply for your spouse open work permit if your primary applicant is going for study visa or for work permit. Depending upon that, you can meet the conditions and you can apply for your spouse open work permit. So if you also want to apply with me for your spouse open work permit or for your any other application, study visa with spouse, PG work permit or extension or Canadian PR, any application, I'd be happy to take care of your application. If you want to know how you can plan your PR better in Canada, then you must watch this video. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. See you in next video.